Let's take a look at a slightly customized Mark I Kukuri from Purna Darnall of Great Gurkha Khukuri. Hello, this is Kyle, also known as Alientude, and today I am taking a look at a kukuri that my friend, the Levin Lance, sent to me for review. Now this is a loaner, I don't get to keep the knife, which is a shame, but all the same, thank you, Nate. So this is the second kukuri from Purna Darnall that I have experience with. I did a review of Chitlange Kukuri. I know I butchered that pronunciation, but I did a review of that quite a while ago on my channel, and I still have that kukuri, and it's great. I love it. It's sharp, it's fast, but it's meaty. It's a tool. It's a bushcraft tool. This one is a little bit more on the fighting style. It's got a much broader blade, and it narrows at the spine a lot more, which makes it more nimble, quicker to cut. And also, because the spine is considerably narrower at the sweet spot, that means it's going to have better geometry for cutting. It comes with a scabbard, and the scabbard is a little different than most of the ones I've seen from Purna for kukuris. It doesn't have any of the decorative grooves cut into it, and it actually has a chape, which I don't really see on his stuff that often, and a belt loop on here. Overall, it's a wood core scabbard. There's no real rattle. The rattle you might hear there is just the belt loop flapping. It does shake out pretty easily, but if I just hold it upside down, it doesn't come out. You need to shake it. So it's an effective scabbard. So the construction of this kukuri, it is what they would call a stick tang, where the tang goes all the way through and it's peened to the grip. The grip is rosewood, I believe. I'm not positive, but I know he uses rosewood a lot, so I'm guessing that's what it is. And it has these risers right in the center to help lock your hand in place. Now, I find that these risers are a bit, I won't call them sharp, but they're a bit more prominent than I would like. When I'm moving it around, I feel them, and I won't say they bite into the hand, but they are just a little bit uncomfortable on the hand. They rub against the hand a little bit more than I would like. But it's a very effective grip. You know, it locks the knife in place very well. This isn't going anywhere, and it makes edge alignment very easy. So the blade itself, as you can see, starts out quite thick and does quite a bit of distal tapering down to pretty narrow at the tip. It doesn't really have any flex to it though, because even though it gets pretty narrow, it's still a big, meaty spine, which gives you a good amount of power in the cut. Even though this has a lot of distal taper, it just has a lot of power as you swing it. You feel this weight out here, but it doesn't feel bad. It just feels right. It feels good. It's the way a good cutting knife should feel. So I said this is a slightly customized kukuri. The Levin Lance asked Purna to take the Mark I kukuri and change the distal taper to his specs, as well as the style of grinding. I'll put up a comparison shot so you can see the differences. The fullers on this kukuri are blackened on the inside. I think that's probably actually just not polished rather than actively blackened. And they're a little wobbly, a little rough, but they look good enough. There's a little bit of decoration here. I don't remember what this little cutout that is traditional on kukuris is called. This is not the shape that I'm used to seeing on a kukuri, but it looks good enough. Now these little edges, the little tips here are very sharp. So if you're running your fingers around here, you're going to feel that. And you're certainly not going to ever want to move your finger up there. And, you know, when I oil the blade, they catch on that cloth so easily, but, you know, so what. One thing that's important to note when you're looking at the pictures of this kukuri, this is a well-used blade. There's a good amount of staining on it, and I believe that the Levin Lance has probably cut some tatami with it, because to me it looks like tatami stains on here. But regardless, that's easily, you could clean that up with just a new polish on it. One kind of interesting thing here is the polish is generally a satin across most of the blade, but at where the bevel transitions from flat to apple-seeded into the edge, it actually gets a little brighter and almost up to a mirror polish. And that brings me to sharpness. Pernod Darnall is a master at sharpening. There's just no other way to say it. He puts a beautiful apple-seeded edge on everything that I've seen from him. It's always crazy sharp, but also durable. And this Kukuri is no exception. It cuts through pretty much anything I want to put in front of it very easily with just, I can just do a quick flick of the wrist. It cuts nicely. I can put more power into the cut, cuts beautifully. Pernod Darnall is a master sharpener. I love using blades that he has sharpened. So I did do some comparison between this Kukuri and the one that I have that I reviewed quite a while ago. Now, as I had mentioned, this one is kind of a fighting style Kukuri, and the one I have is kind of a bushcraft style. Mostly you can tell that based on how beefy the one that I have is. Look, take a look at this spine comparison. So with that, you would think that this Mark I Kukuri would be a better cutter, right? The type of targets I cut, mostly water bottles, some pool noodles, the thing you need the most for those is sharpness and edge alignment. And the nuances of the style of grind, the thickness, they're not going to matter as much as opposed to, say, tatami, where, when you have a thin blade that goes through it at the right edge, it's going to cut better. Water bottles, you don't really need that. You need a really sharp edge, and you need good edge alignment to get nice clean cuts. But otherwise, I couldn't really tell the difference between these two. I do think that the Kukuri I have would probably stand up to bushcraft better because it is sturdier. But that's not to say that this is a flimsy blade. This is a beefy one. This could definitely be used for bushcraft as well. It's a little bit more focused on a fighting style. So if we're going to take a look at potential improvements, really the only thing that I can really say is the risers on the grip could be just a tiny bit less prominent, a tiny bit more rounded, so that they're not quite as, they don't quite cause quite as much discomfort in the hand. It's not a lot, but it is there. And other than that, there's nothing really else for me to say. So this Kukuri is well worth the price. I really enjoy using it, and it's going to be fun as both a backyard cutter, and honestly, I think it would be quite useful as a tool as well. It would probably be helpful to say what the price was then, wouldn't it? This Kukuri cost $175, including shipping from Nepal to California. In any case, I want to once again thank my friend, the Levin Lance, for allowing me to review this Kukuri. Thank you, Nate.